Okay, we're going to talk about exponential growth and decay. So I'm going to show you the two formulas. I'm going to show you how to write a formula, how to graph exponential growth and decay, and how to answer a word problem. Okay, so let's take a look at the first part. What is an exponential function? So my initial rate, A, is labeled there. So that's my first value, and B is my actual rate. Okay, so when I look at this equation here, I want you to notice that 2 is greater than 1. See how it says it's greater than 1? That means it's growing, okay? That's my B value, my rate. Okay, and this B value is only 1/2, which is less than 1, which is why this is decay. So inside the parenthesis, if it's bigger than 1, see how we can tell it's going up from left to right like a roller coaster, and this one is going down from left to right. Okay, that's what exponential functions look like. Okay, so you have two formulas. You have exponential growth on the left with a plus, and exponential decay on the right with a minus. It's a 1 plus because percent is out of 100% or 1 whole, so that's why it's 1 adding to and 1 subtracting from. So when I look at the first question, it tells me that I paid $110 for a coin. Okay, so I know that A is 110. That's my initial value. So the coin gains value of 4%. That is my rate. So rate needs to be represented as a decimal, so 0.04. So I'm going to use the formula above. I'm going to plug everything I know in. 1 plus 0.04 to the t. So the only thing you would actually need to do is make this say 1.04 to the t, because now you notice that inside the parenthesis, like we just talked about, it's bigger than 1. So we know it's a growth formula. Okay, over here, we're going to talk about decay. So we start with 710. So A equals, 780. And my rate depreciates, it goes down, so this is 5%, so R equals 0.05. And we plug it in. 780, 1 minus 0.05 to the t. And the only thing would be to make this say 95 to the t. Okay, and showing you that this is less than 1. That's how you know it's decay. All right, moving on. Okay, so solving a word problem with growth. So I know this is growth because it says increased. Okay, it says 8%. So that means my rate is 0.08. Okay, and then it says that it started at 48,000 in 2011. So I know that my initial value is 48,000. So that means, since we're talking about years, 2011 is like your initial year. It's your year 0. So I've started a table because they want to know about 2014. So this is 1 year later, this is 2 years later, this is 3 years later. So based on the question, we need to make sure that we plug in t equals 3 to answer the question. So when I look at all these, I have 48,000 and 1 plus 0.08 to the third. Okay, so I'm plugging the 3 in so I can figure out the population of 2014, 3 years after 2011. So when I do that, this is number 3, I get 60,466. And that's my answer. Okay, so let's do a decay. So this one begins in 2010 to 2014. So this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're looking for 2014, so we're going to want a 4. So t equals 4. My rate was 0.005, 0.5%. So a half out of 100% is 0.005. A is 1.2 million. So that's 1, 2 million. Oops. Okay. So next, we're going to plug it all in. Minus 0.005 to the 4th. So when I plug that in my calculator, I get 1,176,179.40. Okay, and that's my answer there, because that's money. All right, so let's take a look at what a graph looks like. So when I look at the bottom left here, all I basically did was take the x and plug it in. So I took my x and I plugged in this number. So I plugged in -1 as my exponent, and it gave me -1/3. And then I plugged in 0 as my exponent, and it gave me 1. I plugged in 1 as my exponent, and it gave me 5. So when I graph this, it's just going to look like one of the two that are above. So this one is going to look like this. Okay. And it's going to go up from left to right. And then when I graph this one, I know it's decay because it has a 1/2. So I know it's going to go down. And I plugged in the -1, the 0, and the 1. And so I'm just going to graph those points. So -1, 5. 0, 1. And 1, -1. And this graph is going down. So that's it for the notes, guys. So zoom out one last look.